I'm Michael, 28 years old, and I'm going to tell you how Halloween night turned into an absolute nightmare for me. I was on my way to a costume party, my friend's farm, deep in the woods, about 50 kilometers from the city. I was dressed as a medieval knight, a full suit of armor, real metal, around 30 kilos of weight. I thought I'd look amazing, that everyone would be impressed, that I'd win the best costume award. But nothing went the way I planned. I got lost on the way. My GPS stopped working. I turned onto a forest road, dark, narrow, full of curves, and I lost control. The car spun out, flew off the road, and crashed into a tree. The next thing I remember, I was lying on the forest floor, cold, trapped inside the armor. I couldn't move. I couldn't get it off. I couldn't even lift my arms. And I thought to myself, is this it? Am I going to die here, inside this armor on Halloween night? 12 hours later, they found me. A hiker saw me in the morning and called for help. Paramedics arrived, but they couldn't reach me. The armor covered everything. They couldn't check my pulse properly, couldn't see where I was bleeding. So they called the fire department. The firefighters brought cutting tools and started slicing through the metal piece by piece. It took hours. I just lay there, freezing, shivering, in pain, waiting, while they cut me free from the thing that almost killed me. A Halloween costume that was supposed to make me look like a hero nearly became my coffin. It all started a week earlier. My friend Jake called me and said, "I'm throwing a Halloween party at the farm. Big one. Costume contest. Prize for the best costume." I got excited immediately. I've always loved Halloween, dressing up, having fun, being someone else for a night. I started thinking about what to wear. Should I go for something scary, funny, original? And then it hit me, a knight. A medieval knight in full armor. That would be different, unexpected. Heavy, expensive, difficult to wear, but I could pull it off. I'd find a way. I searched online, checked costume stores, and finally found a small antique shop that sold real armor. Not plastic replicas real, restored medieval armor sets. I went there. The owner was an old man, looked like a collector. He showed me 3 armors. I tried one chest plate, arm guards, leg armor, helmet, and it was heavy. Really heavy. Maybe 30-35 kilos. Hard to move, hard to breathe, but it looked amazing. I felt like a real knight. I rented it for 3 days, paid a $500 deposit. The old man said, "Be careful. It's not fragile, but don't lose it. It's valuable." I nodded, loaded it into my car, brought it home, and tried it on again. I looked in the mirror. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Everyone would be shocked. Jake would be impressed. I was sure I'd win the Best Costume Award. Then came the night of the party, Halloween night, October 31st. The party would start at 7 p.m. Jake's farm was about 50 kilometers away, an hour's drive. I got ready, put on the armor piece by piece. First the inner suit, then the leg armor, the chest plate, the arm guards, the gauntlets. I didn't wear the helmet yet couldn't drive with it, too little visibility. I texted Jake, "On my way. I'll be there in an hour." Driving with the armor was hard. The seatbelt barely fit. Turning the steering wheel was a struggle, but I drove carefully, slowly. It was around 6 in the evening when I left, and the darkness had already started to settle. That heavy, early October darkness that makes everything feel just a little more ominous. The first 30 kilometers went smoothly. I was driving on the main road, traffic was light. It was Halloween night. Most people were home, getting ready for parties. I turned on the radio, listened to music, felt relaxed. Then I reached the turn Jake had mentioned in his directions. "Get off the main road, turn right, go down the forest road for 5 kilometers, you'll see the farm." I looked at my GPS on the phone. It matched the directions. "Turn right," it said. So I did. The road was small, narrow. No asphalt, just dirt and gravel. Trees on both sides, tall and thick. A forest road. And it was dark. Really dark. I turned on the high beams, lighting the path ahead, and drove slowly 20, maybe 25 kilometers per hour. I went 1 kilometer, 2, 3. Then the GPS stopped working. The signal dropped. Out of coverage area appeared on the screen. I panicked for a moment. What do I do now? Keep going? Turn back? I pulled over and stopped the car. Tried to message Jake, no signal. No bars. Nothing. The forest was too dense. There was no reception at all. I remembered what Jake had said. Just go straight for 5 kilometers. The farm will be on your right. You'll see the lights, so I decided to trust him. I kept going straight. 4 kilometers. 5. 6. But there was no farm, no lights, no buildings, just trees, just endless darkness. That's when I realized I'd taken the wrong road. There must have been more than one forest trail. I'd gone down the wrong one. I decided to turn back, make a U-turn, but the road was too narrow, trees pressed close on both sides. I tried a 3-point turn forward, reverse, forward, and that's when I saw another path branching off to the left. A smaller road, barely visible. Maybe that's it, I thought. Maybe the real road. I turned the wheel and took it. That was the biggest mistake of my life. The new road was narrower and rougher, full of potholes and rocks. So I drove slowly around 15, maybe 10 kilometers an hour, and the armor was getting uncomfortable. Sitting was hard, my lower back hurt, my neck hurt, the chest plate pressed down, and breathing was difficult. I thought I'd made a mistake. Driving with this armor was a bad idea. I needed to reach Jake, I needed my phone, but there was still no signal. A sharp right bend came up, and I slowed. I braked, but my armored foot was heavy and the brake pedal wasn't sensitive enough. I didn't press hard enough, and I entered the corner too fast, maybe 40-50 kilometers an hour. The wheels slipped on loose gravel, the steering locked to the right, and I tried to turn, but my armored arm was heavy and weak. I couldn't turn the wheel enough. The car left the road and headed towards the trees. I panicked and slammed the brake, stomped it to the floor, but it kept sliding. I saw a big tree straight ahead and hit it hard. My head flew forward. The airbag deployed and hit my chest, but the chest armor stopped the airbag and hit me back hard. The seat slid backward. The windshield shattered, glass scattered, and the car stopped. The engine died, the lights went out, and there was total silence except for faint hissing as the engine cooled. Everything spun. My vision went dark and I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I don't know how long had passed, 5 minutes, 10, but everything was dark inside the car, the lights were off, the engine silent, and pain was everywhere. My chest felt like my ribs had cracked. My neck hurt as if sprained. My head pounded like it had hit something. I tried to move, my hands moved, my feet moved, I wasn't paralyzed, which was a good sign. I tried the driver's door handle, but it wouldn't open. It was jammed and crushed. I kicked, but my armored leg made my kick clumsy and it still wouldn't open. I squeezed over to the passenger side, the armor snagging and tight, but I managed to reach the handle and pop it open. I climbed out and fell to my knees on the ground. I struggled to stand, the armor was heavy, 30 kilos, and looked around. Forest everywhere, dark trees, and the car smashed into a tree. The front crumpled, smoke rising from the engine. The road was gone 20-30 meters back. The car had rolled off and ended up between trees. I reached for my phone in my pocket, but the armor covered the pockets. I tried to remove the chest plate. There were straps and buckles at the back I couldn't reach. My hands couldn't get to them because the armor blocked me. I panicked, thinking, how am I going to get this off? Then I remembered how Jake had helped me. When I put it on, he had fastened the straps at the back with keyed locks. The key was with Jake, not with me. I understood the situation. The armor wouldn't come off. I couldn't reach my phone. I was lost on a forest road, surrounded by gravel, with no signal, and I didn't know what to do. Should I walk? Should I stay near the car? If I waited, maybe someone would pass by, maybe someone would see me. But it was night. Halloween night. Who would drive down this road tonight? The cold started to set in. The air was freezing, maybe 5 degrees, maybe 10, and the armor was metal. Cold metal that absorbed all my body heat and made me shiver. I decided to walk. I started moving toward the road, about 20 meters. Every step was heavy. The armor was exhausting. My legs burned, my breathing quickened. I reached the dirt road dark, silent, and I hesitated. Which direction? Left or right? I couldn't remember which way I had come. I guessed. Left, I said to myself. I'll go left. And I started walking. Slowly. One step at a time. After 100 meters, maybe 200, my legs began to ache. My chest felt tight. Breathing became hard, and I stopped. I needed to rest. I sat down by the roadside on the rocks and waited. Maybe a car would come. Maybe someone would see the wreck. But no one came. There was only silence, the faint rustle of trees, and the sound of wind moving through the forest. The cold grew stronger. Much stronger. My hands began to shake. My teeth chattered uncontrollably. I told myself I had to move. If I stopped, I'd freeze. Movement meant warmth. So I stood up again and started walking, but my body was giving out. The adrenaline from the crash had faded, and now all I felt was pain. Every breath hurt. My ribs throbbed, probably broken. My neck was stiff, my head pounding. I walked maybe another 500 meters, maybe less. It was impossible to tell in the dark. And then I tripped. My foot caught on a rock, and I fell, hard. Face first. The armor slammed into the ground with a heavy metallic crash. I tried to get up, pushed with my hands, but I was weak, too weak. The armor weighed me down like chains. I tried again, bending my knees, reaching for something, and managed to grab a tree trunk. I pulled myself up, trembling, barely standing. But I couldn't walk anymore. My legs were done. My balance was gone. I stumbled sideways and fell again, this time onto my right side, off the road, into the forest, onto a bed of dry leaves. I just lay there. I didn't try to get up. I couldn't. My strength was gone. Everything was gone. The cold wrapped around me completely. My hands went numb, my feet numb, my face numb. The shaking became violent, uncontrollable. My body tried to generate heat, but it wasn't enough. The armor was too cold. The metal was stealing my warmth. I knew what was happening, hypothermia, and I thought, is this it? Am I going to die here, in this forest, in this armor? Am I going to freeze to death on Halloween night? No one knew. Jake was at the party waiting for me. My mother was home expecting me to call. No one knew I was lost. No one knew I had crashed. My eyes began to close heavy, slow. Fatigue hit me hard. Sleep came creeping in the dangerous kind, the hypothermic kind. I knew I shouldn't sleep, that if I did, I might not wake up. But I was too tired, too cold. My eyelids dropped completely. Consciousness slipped away, slowly, silently. The world went dark. When I woke up, there was sunlight, bright, blinding sunlight, morning light. And I heard a voice, a human voice. Someone was calling out, "Hey! Hey, are you okay?" I tried to open my eyes, slowly, heavily. Everything was blurry, and I saw a face, a man's face, maybe 60 years old, with a grey beard, wearing hiking clothes. He was talking, saying, "Are you hurt? Can you hear me?" I tried to speak. I said yes and help me, but no sound came out. My throat was dry, painfully dry, and I coughed, harshly, weakly. The man said, "Don't move. I'm calling 911. Stay still." He pulled out his phone, dialed, and I heard him speak. "Emergency. I found a man. Forest Road 47, injured. He's wearing armor. Yes, real armor. It's a strange situation." He stayed beside me, took off his jacket, and covered me with it, trying to keep me warm. He asked questions. "What happened? Are you in pain? Can you move?" And I answered in fragments. "Car accident. Can't remove armor. Stuck." He looked down at the armor, eyes wide. "What is this?" he said. "Halloween costume. But why? Why real armor?" I couldn't explain. I was too weak to explain. About 15 minutes later, I heard sirens. Faint at first, then closer. An ambulance appeared slowly along the rocky road, tires crunching on gravel. It stopped nearby, the doors swung open, and 2 paramedics jumped out, 1 man, 1 woman. They ran towards me with bags in hand, knelt beside me, and froze for a moment. the male paramedic muttered. "What the hell? Is he wearing real armor?" The female paramedic said sharply, "Doesn't matter. Check vitals first. Assess injuries." They dropped to their knees beside me, opened their medical kits, pulled out equipment. The young man, maybe 25, shone a flashlight into my eyes, checking my pupils. "What's your name?" he asked. "Do you know where you are?" "What day is it?" I answered weakly. "Michael. Forest. Saturday. Halloween." The paramedic nodded. "Good." Alert and oriented. "That's good." The female paramedic, older, maybe 40, attached the pulse oximeter clip to my finger, then tried to wrap a blood pressure cuff around my arm. But the arm plate was in the way. The metal armor was too tight. She tried to slide it under, but it wouldn't fit. She tried to unbuckle the straps, to remove the arm piece, undoing the leather and metal clasps, but the chest plate overlapped. "It's all connected," I told her. "Can't remove parts." "It's one piece." The two paramedics exchanged worried looks. The man said quietly, "We have a problem. We can't assess chest, can't check the abdomen, can't place EKG, can't start an IV properly." The woman frowned. "We need to cut it. We'll need heavy tools. Call the fire department." She grabbed the radio from her belt, pressed the button, and spoke quickly. "Dispatch, this is Rescue 12. We need fire rescue at Forest Road 47. Patient trapped in full metal armor. Repeat, trapped in armor. We'll need heavy cutting tools." Then she paused and added, "Yes." I said armor. We waited 20 long minutes, the kind of minutes that feel like hours. The paramedics did everything they could. They put an oxygen mask on my face, fitted a C-collar around my neck to keep it stable, and wrapped me in blankets to fight the hypothermia. But they couldn't do much else. They couldn't see the wounds, couldn't listen to my chest, couldn't open an IV line. So we waited. We just waited for the fire department. When the fire truck finally arrived, a massive red truck with flashing lights, 4 firefighters jumped down, carrying heavy gear, boxes, cutters. The captain came last. A tall man, maybe in his 40s, calm but clearly experienced. He looked at me, then at the armor, and let out a small laugh. "Really?" he said. "Halloween costume. You're committed." Then his face turned serious. "Okay, let's get him out." The firefighters brought over the cutting tool, a portable metal cutter, like a smaller version of the jaws of life. The captain pointed to my shoulder. "We'll start here," he said. "Shoulder joints first, then chest plate. That'll give us access." They positioned the tool near my upper body at the shoulder seam of the armor. The motor roared to life, loud, grinding, deafening. The high-pitched whine of steel cutting through steel echoed in the forest. I felt the vibration through my whole body. The armor shook with each bite of the blade. I couldn't help but panic. How deep would they cut? Would they slip? Would they cut me? The paramedic next to me held my hand tightly. "It's okay," she said over the noise. "They're professionals." "You're safe," I wanted to believe her, but fear still pulsed in my chest with every vibration. They cut for 5 minutes, slicing through the shoulder plates, right side first, then the left. The armor loosened. I felt it shift. The firefighters grabbed the pieces and pulled them off, revealing the connection to the chest plate. Then they began again, this time at the center of my chest. Sparks flew. The sound was brutal metal, screaming, grinding. They cut down the middle, carefully, inch by inch, top to bottom. The plate was thick, maybe 2 or 3 millimeters of solid steel, and progress was slow. It took 10 minutes, maybe 15. Finally, the cutting stopped. The captain nodded, and 2 firefighters pried the armor open like a door, one half to the left, one to the right. Cold air hit my chest. They could finally see me, the torn shirt, the blood-soaked fabric underneath. There was a small wound, a cut across the chest, probably from the crash, a sharp piece of metal that had pierced through. The paramedics moved in instantly. The female paramedic cut my shirt with trauma shears, exposing my bruised ribs, purple and swollen. The moment she touched my chest, pain shot through me, sharp, deep pain that made me groan. She shouted something I didn't catch what, and the male paramedic prepared a syringe. A few seconds later, I felt the burn of morphine entering my bloodstream. The pain dulled, fading into a warm fog. The sounds around me blurred, voices echoing, metal clanking, radio chatter. They lifted me carefully onto the stretcher. The leg armor was still on, the helmet too, but my upper body was exposed now, free for them to work on. They loaded me into the ambulance, slammed the doors, and the siren started up again. Loud, urgent, alive. And then we moved bouncing down the dirt road, racing towards the hospital. At the hospital, the trauma team was already waiting. Doctors, surgeons, nurses, everyone ready. They rushed the stretcher through the sliding doors and into a bright trauma bay, lights glaring overhead. It felt like stepping into another world. White walls, stainless steel, rapid voices, organized chaos. They started removing the remaining pieces of armor. Firefighters followed us inside, using portable cutters to take off the leg plates, then the greaves. Finally, someone loosened the straps under my chin, and the helmet came off with a metallic click. For the first time in hours, I could feel air on my skin. I was lying completely exposed on the table, trembling, surrounded by people in scrubs and masks. They examined me quickly, hands moving over my chest and sides, calling out findings. "Get a chest X-ray," one shouted. "CT after that," another said. They worked fast, scanning, measuring, monitoring. Machines beeped, screens flickered. Someone whispered vitals, heart rate 108, oxygen 95, dropping. I could barely focus on any of it. Then the trauma doctor came, tall, calm, in blue scrubs. He held a tablet, looked at the scans, and spoke with a steady voice. "You've got 3 broken ribs," he said. "Right side. There's also a small pneumothorax that's a partial lung collapse, but it's minor. We'll insert a chest tube to release the trapped air. You're also mildly hypothermic, but we'll warm you up. And your neck shows a muscle strain, nothing severe." He looked at me and added, almost with a smile, "You're lucky. The armor saved you from major trauma, but it almost killed you too from hypothermia and the delay in treatment." They didn't take me to surgery. Instead, they rolled in a tray of sterile instruments. A nurse shaved the right side of my chest. "We'll numb the area," the doctor said. I nodded, barely. The local anesthetic stung, and a few seconds later I felt pressure, not pain, but a strange, deep pressure as they made a small incision between my ribs. Then the tube went in. I felt it slide into my chest cavity, a thick plastic line that hissed softly as air escaped. The pain came next sharp, tearing, and I gasped, trying not to move. The doctor said, "Almost done, hang on." And I did. 10 minutes, maybe 15, and it was over. The tube was taped down, bandaged, secured. I could breathe again, a little easier this time. They transferred me to the ICU monitors on every side, the rhythmic beep of machines, an IV drip, the warmth of heated blankets covering my body. Oxygen hissed softly through the nasal cannula. A nurse adjusted my pillow and said, "You can rest now." And I did. I fell asleep almost instantly. My body gave up the fight. After nearly 30 hours without rest, after everything, the crash, the cold, the armor, I finally slept. Deep, dreamless, silent sleep. The next morning, they moved me out of the ICU to a regular hospital room. The chest tube came out that afternoon. My lung had re-expanded. Breathing was easier, almost normal again. The monitors were gone. The beeping stopped. For the first time since the crash, the silence felt peaceful. Later that day, Jake came. He walked in slowly, eyes full of guilt. "Man, I'm so sorry," he said. "This is my fault. I invited you to that stupid party. If I hadn't, I stopped him." "No," I said, my voice rough but calm. "It wasn't your fault. I should have checked the route. I should have stayed on the main road. I should have never driven in armor." He nodded, eyes glassy, and we both laughed softly, that strange laugh people use when they survive something they shouldn't have. I stayed in the hospital for another week. They kept me to make sure my ribs healed properly, to monitor my breathing, and to fully recover from the hypothermia. When I finally went home, it felt unreal, the warmth, the quiet, the normal air against my skin instead of metal. Recovery took time. 2 months, maybe 3, before I could move without pain. Slowly, my strength returned. The bruises faded, the scars softened, and the nightmares started to fade too. When I was well enough, I took the armor back to the antique shop. It was bent, burned, and cut into pieces, completely ruined. The old man behind the counter just looked at it, then looked at me. "Insurance will cover it," he said softly. "Keep your money. You're lucky to be alive." He gave me back my deposit, and for a moment, I didn't know what to say, just nodded and left. I never wore armor again, never dressed up for Halloween again. That night changed everything. It wasn't just a party gone wrong, it was a reminder of how thin the line is between a joke and a disaster, between a costume and a coffin. And I still remember lying in that cold forest, trapped in steel, thinking, this can't be how I die. But I didn't. Somehow, I didn't.